Hi there everyone, my name's Dave West. I hope we're all doing well. So welcome back to another video with the OnePlus 7T, and today I'm checking out very briefly Filmic Pro on the OnePlus 7T. Now the one thing that piqued my interest with Filmic Pro on this device is the fact that you can do 4K at 60 frames per second from the front facing camera. Now the only OnePlus device that's able to do that at the moment is the new OnePlus Nord, so I'll be checking that out next week. But I did want to see what I suppose its nearest relative, I suppose. If you're going to look at price points, the OnePlus 7T kind of sits above the OnePlus Nord in the kind of device that you would maybe look for if you didn't really want to go for that cheaper option. But I was quite surprised that it can do really nice 4K video at 60 FPS from the front facing camera, even though none of the other OnePlus 7 series or the 8 series devices with the same sensor are able to do this. So it's a little bit confusing why this can do it and others can't. But this is currently recording at 100 megabits per second, so it's in the Filmic Extreme quality setting, and I've just set the functions to auto, so it's handling all of the white balance all by itself. So you may see some clipping in the background and also on my forehead, as you can probably see there. But this is just to give you an idea of the quality and how 4K60 looks from the front facing camera on the OnePlus 7T. So rather confusingly then, things take a bizarre turn on the rear cameras. So even though the seemingly incapable front-facing camera can do 4K at 60, the really capable rear camera, which is the only one you can film on with Filmic Pro, can only do 1080 60, so it can't do 4K at 60 frames per second. Now granted, this is due to the limitations of the Filmic Pro app on OnePlus devices. There's an incompatibility between the phones and the actual app itself, so it's not actually Filmic Pro's fault. I suppose OnePlus need to update the software on the phone or the permissions which are used by Filmic Pro. However, at 1080p at 60 frames per second and at the highest bit rate of 100 megabits per second, you do get really good quality 1080p at 60 frames per second. Now I am using a gimbal. The phone can support optical image stabilization, but nobody wants to see wonky video full of footstep movement. So we'll just check out autofocus, and you can see it's nice and smooth. Using Filmic Pro, you can use the reticles on the screen to move focus around the display and put it onto different areas. So I can push and hold, and then I can use the focus wheel, and that then gives us manual control over focus. And you can also do the same with the exposure reticles, so you can move that around and put the focus priority where you need it. As to give you an example of that, I'll just push towards the sky, and if I move the reticle around, you can see that the exposure values change and the priority based on where you want it to be. So that's pretty cool. Now the good news is with the rear camera, you can go above 1080p 60, but you can only go to 4K at 30 frames per second. But again, the actual quality and consistency of the video is a step above what you get with the standard camera application, which allows a bit rate of around about 40 to 50 megabits per second, whereas with Filmic Pro you can record up to 100 megabits per second in really good quality. And if you really wanted to, you could dial in the settings in the cinematographer kit with Filmic Pro to get some really nice results if manual controls are your thing. Now I did do a video on this with the OnePlus 7 Pro back last year, so I'll link that up on the screen now, and you can go and check that out in your own time and see how that works and how it looks. Alright, so that's a quick look at Filmic Pro then on the OnePlus 7T, and we're finishing off the test at 4K at 30 frames per second from the front-facing camera. It's quite surprised to see that you're able to do 4K60. I know it's not a huge deal to a lot of people, but it's worth just demonstrating what this phone is capable of with some third-party applications, and the quality is actually really impressive. So if you've got any questions about anything you've seen in the video, then please do leave those down in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And don't forget, if you're new here, then please do consider subscribing, so there's more videos coming on the channel like this very soon. But for now, this has been my look at Filmic Pro on the OnePlus 7T. My name's Dave West, and I'll catch you guys later.